What's up, everybody? My name is Kym Stagg. I'm a production consultant. I help brands integrate production elements into their business models. I am a live event as well as a TV producer and director. I've worked with Lena Waithe. I've worked with Jordan Peele as well as Spike Lee. I'm the owner of Capital Co, which is a full-service production company, as well as media and event services. I am also the owner of the KymStaggExperience.com, where my experience becomes yours. And I teach students how to get into the film and television industry. I've worked with a myriad of different studios like HBO, as well as Disney, and I'm currently the production coordinator for Showtime, The Chi. On The Chi, we take care of the entire production. So every department comes to us for every need that they may have. And so we have the sound department. We order expendables like batteries, mic screens, and lavaliers. There's the rigging department, which is rigging grip as well as rigging electric. And sometimes they need safety items like harnesses. They also need to order lifts. We order lifts from various vendors, and we make sure that they're safe while they're on the lifts. And we take care of their rentals, and we make sure that they're all set in terms of production and in terms of what they need, because they rig the set before the shooting crew gets there. Another thing is that in the office, there are a number of positions next to me. So I'm the production coordinator. There's also an APOC. The APOC sort of assists me, but assists the entire production. We take care of things like the work list for the DGA, which is the Directors Guild of America. Anyone that is on that list, we make sure that they're accounted for. We take care of things like there's injuries that happen on set. We need to make sure that they're reported the correct way. We make sure that we send out the call sheets to the appropriate people so people know when they are supposed to report to set and what we're doing for the day. We also take care of the prelim, which is something that we take care of prior to the final call sheet. There's a preliminary call sheet that we send out so people kind of have an idea of what the next day will look like. Outside of the APOC, there is a travel coordinator that takes care of all of the executive travel, cast travel, as well as crew travel. And sometimes the cast is traveling in and out per episode. Sometimes they need to come in for fittings. We take care of the costumes department. The costumes department is oftentimes in need of us shipping things and making sure that we can get clothing in and out and making labels. And so some of these jobs are targeted at a production assistant. So the production assistants in the office are super important. They're super important on set as they help propel and push the production forward. So they do all of the runs. They take care of the lunch. They take care of shipping labels. They make copies. They make sides. Sides are like basically for actors. So we know what scenes we're doing for the day, and we'll basically parse a script and we'll make sure that all of the sides are available so people know exactly the work that we're doing for the day. And we make big sides, which is like 8.5 by 11, and we also make small sides, which are cut on a copier and also like on a cutting board, so people can just look at them and kind of flip through them. And we make sure that they're distributed, and we take care of this every single night, and we send it to the AD department, which is the assistant directors. They pretty much take care of the show on ground. They make sure that the actors are at base camp. Base camp is basically where all of the trailers are. So you'll see cast trailers, you'll see hair and makeup trailers, you'll see what we call a PMO, which is basically just a bathroom where they can use the restroom. So all of this is considered at base camp. You've got working trucks that exist. Working trucks are basically your grip and electric. So now we're no longer rigging, but we're shooting grip and shooting electric. And we have working trucks that they have to pull all of the gear out to make sure that the lights are working, to make sure that we have enough electrical power and that we're not going into various locations and bursting and messing up anyone's power. So you have a best boy electric that balances power. The locations department is super important because in locations, they actually choose the location. So you have a location manager, you have an ALM or 2 or 3 sometimes, and you also have location scouts and location PAs, and they assist the location and come up at maybe we're shooting at 5 in the morning. Well, they report at 2 o'clock in the morning, making sure that the parking is clear, making sure that the trucks can get in, making sure that we're all good and we're set to move around the day. So the production itself works together. We're all working hand in hand, and the production office is the center of information. It's the hub where people can find out what they need. If they have an issue, they come to us, and we make sure that we take care of them, and we take care of them with service. So a forgotten about department is usually post. A lot of people don't realize how important the post department really is. And so in the post department, there's a music supervisor. That music supervisor also has an assistant. They're responsible for the overall sound of a show, from a click track or music that's written into the script. If they're looking for a certain vibe that matches that, they're responsible for getting the permission to use that song, whatever it is that we need to do. That assistant goes and looks for the licenses. Sometimes maybe Disney or another studio has a license agreement with a certain music company, or if it's an indie artist, sometimes they're on Instagram looking for new artists. You'll see some sort of submission, and they're like, "Oh, send your music to this@gmail.com," and now someone is sort of looking through those emails to see if there's any music that will sort of match the show. But if you are in Illinois and you can get a hot sheet from the Illinois Film Office, you can sort of figure out who's in which department and get some of that information so that you can start getting an idea who the music supervisors are in LA. It doesn't mean that you have to be in Chicago or in a different place. It can be just finding the right people. The music supervisor sometimes works various shows. So if you are in their roster, they can use you for a number of different shows, but then your pool is open a lot better, because then you have the option to be on maybe a Power or maybe a Shy or maybe, whatever show it is, but they work multiple shows. So it's very important to reach out, maybe via Instagram. Sometimes you can reach out to showrunners on Instagram. People have been doing it for a number, of years now, that we're in this internet age where people are just going straight to Instagram, straight to the source, sending them what they want, sometimes putting your music on, and then tagging these various people on the internet and on Instagram. And I'm saying Instagram, but TikTok is also super popular. If your music goes viral, that may be something that they actually are interested in using. And it's not just for television and film, but also for commercials. If it's something that is very super trendy, or something that that is really going around and getting numbers and able to, basically getting what they call ratings, that may be something that you can delve into. So don't just be stuck into film and TV, but there's commercials, and sometimes people are still using stuff for what they call jingles, which are connected to commercials. But there's so many options that you have out there for your music, so don't be limited. Shout out to C.O.R.E Music Foundation for advocating for artists, entertainers, and songwriters for decades. And thank you for inviting me. And on that note, here are my 3 tips on how to join the film and television industry. The first thing you want to do is consider being a production assistant. It's the first entry-level job to get in. Nobody walks in as a director, and while you may aspire to be one, and that's fine, you have to remember that sometimes you have to do the groundwork. So in the industry, you start out as a PA. There are PAs available in each department. The first source I would use is Staff Me Up to see if there are any available PA positions. IMDb Pro would help you find the actual shows that are hiring, and some of the key department heads that may be looking for people, and it gives you access. If you pay if you use IMDb, the normal one, it's free and you can kind of just look up stuff, but the Pro account allows you to look up actual production companies. They give you numbers, they give you information on how to get in. If you're in Illinois or any other state, the film office allows you to have what they call a hot sheet, and that hot sheet tells you everything that's hot and all of the productions that are being filmed, the things that are coming in town. They give you the department heads, the producer, the production coordinator, the production supervisor, and their information so that you can reach out. And then oftentimes there's a generic email that says this show resumes.com, at gmail.com, and everyone sends their resumes in. You want to make sure that you're paying attention to the networks that you're using. So maybe you're going out to industry mixers and paying attention to the people that are around you. Make sure that you're networking the proper way. All relationships are not transactional. So some of this could just be saying happy holidays. Some of it could just be saying, hey, just checking in to see how you're doing. And then that could turn into an opportunity. So make sure that you're networking, that you're paying attention to the people that are around you, and that you're doing something that will move your career forward. Now, once you're in the industry, make sure that you show up on set or in your department as light. A lot of times in the industry, darkness is everywhere. And so you have to make sure that you're light in dark places. And that means that you have a go-getter attitude. That means that you have a get-it-done attitude. That means that you can really pretty much do anything and people can consider you trustworthy, and they can call on you when they need you, and they know that you can be positive in a dark space. And I'm not saying it's always dark, but sometimes people are having bad days and they wear it. But you can't be like that, because it's sort of like just a reflection of who you are. So if you can show up as light, it will also help you get to your next gig, because somebody will be like, well, this person's always positive. They'll want to work with you. Even if you don't have the knowledge, they'll still want to work with you because you're a nice person. The other thing I want to offer is that sometimes you want to make sure that you're paying attention, because we're gig workers. This is a freelance gig. So if you're on a 3-month show and you got to pay rent for 5 months, you want to make sure that you're divvying out those funds the correct way. Figure out how you can stretch it. Figure out how you can scale back. It's not the week to go out to eat every day, even when you're tired and you don't have time to cook. You have to figure something out so that your money can stretch. So the third thing you want to do is make sure that you understand that you're a gig worker, which means that you're a freelancer, and that this gig is not going to last forever. But if you're on a 3-month show and you have to pay rent for 5 months, you have to figure out a way to make that stretch. Now, 9 times out of 10, the next show is right on the heel of that. But you can't depend on that. So you have to take that 3-month money and stretch it into 5 months, and which means that you can't eat out every day. You have to save some money. You have to make sure that even though that you don't have time to necessarily cook, that you figure out something that will make you save the money, because a lot of times when you're making so much money weekly, even as a production assistant, you will make more money than somebody that's working at Target. So you will find yourself making $1,000+ a week, and then having nothing at the end of the week if you don't learn how to money manage. And a lot of people don't teach you that in the industry. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention, be light in dark places, make sure you're networking, and understand that all relationships aren't transactional, and then you'll be just fine.